Thank you, Peggy, and thank you to the CAQ and to Cindy for inviting me here today. And first, I just want to say happy birthday to Cindy and the CAQ. I'm surprised you don't have a little tiara on. I think that would be like perfect for you. I have a daughter who is 10 years old, so I know what that journey looks like from 0 to 10. And tell me, are you thinking about painting CAQ's offices purple right about now? Maybe. I think you should go for it. You can always paint over it if you don't like it. It's definitely cheaper than a pony. So, happy birthday, CAQ. I'm so excited about my topic, which is innovation. It's near and dear to my heart. When I was getting my PhD in environmental engineering at the Illinois Institute of Technology, I was immersed in design culture. The campus and the School of Architecture and Design there was designed by Mies van der Rohe, one of the absolute great modernist designers. And he really instilled in everyone, and certainly in the environment, a culture of great design thinking and the ethos of less is more, God is in the details, and form follows function. And I like to think that we take a little bit of that to our work at SASB and think about how we apply that to standard setting. I am also just personally very enamored of the Bauhaus School of Thought, which is also another culture of tradition at IIT. And this is really a radical concept. The Bauhaus was founded to reimagine the material world to reflect the unity of all the arts for the betterment of society. Kind of a force for good, like the CAQ. So after grad school and more than 20 years working in the field of sustainable development, I realized that the scope and the urgency of the social and environmental issues that we face as a society can't be solved one project at a time. These are issues like climate change and resource scarcity and, of course, human rights. We need to move entire industries to measure and manage the most important issues of our time, and we need investors to be able to invest in more sustainable outcomes. So in 2011, I started SASB to address the lack of investor-grade information on these topics. But even with a PhD and a career's worth of experience before starting SASB, I approached this new challenge not from the mindset of an expert, but from the mindset of a beginner. I had a vision that any investor should be able to type in a ticker, any person should be able to type in a ticker and pull up sustainability fundamentals right alongside financial fundamentals. If material information is the right of all investors and sustainability information can be considered material under the existing law, then why don't we have it at our fingertips? This is the question that drove me. If necessity is the mother of invention, a beginner's mind is its first footsteps. Suzuki Roshi is a Buddhist monk, and he wrote a book called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And he teaches that beginner's mind is innocent of preconceptions and expectations, innocent of prejudices and judgment. Beginner's mind is only present to explore and observe. He said, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, and in the expert's, there are few. SASB sits at the intersection of finance, sustainability, accounting, and securities law. No one can be an expert in all of these. So as a result, I and my staff have had a lot to learn. But I believe our willingness to see things afresh is really why we are here today. I'll give you 3 examples of where we've approached innovation with a beginner's mind. The first is simply the way we look at the world. Prior to SASB, conversations about environmental, social, and governance issues were just that. They were conversations about issues usually advanced by advocates who bemoaned, why aren't the capital markets taking these issues seriously? But here's the thing. Analysts cover industries, not issues. So at SASB, we created a huge matrix, all the sustainability issues and all the industries, and we just crossed them in an array. And then we applied the lens of materiality that comes to us through securities law, and voila. We now made these issues relevant to the capital markets. We are now able to identify which issues were likely to be material and how they would manifest. And for the first time, these issues were not only actionable by analysts, but really hard to ignore if you're a good analyst. So applying systems thinking and a dispassionate approach to materiality helped us unlock their potential and their relevance to the capital markets. Our second innovation was to design an industry classification system. Somewhat arcane, I know, but not because we wanted to. There are certainly many available. There's BICS, the Bloomberg system, GICS, the MSCI system, there's SIC, NAICS, ICB, you name it. There's a classification system for you. But nobody would play ball with us. The proprietary systems were too expensive to license, and the government systems still have things like blacksmithing and buggy whips in them. And so we thought maybe we can do something new. We can group the industries by their sustainability impacts, by how they use resources and how they affect society and the environment. And that's what we did. And now investors can use that classification system to see their exposure to ESG risks. So a great innovation for the markets. And finally, the last innovation is our disclosure intelligence tool, where, again, we had to do it because we had one person reading the 10Ks, looking for disclosure on these issues. And we needed a little bit more firepower than that from the early days. So we looked to the field of artificial intelligence and developed a tool to process 10Ks using artificial intelligence and natural language. And now our tool can look for disclosure and assess the quality of disclosure on sustainability-related topics by drawing from Edgar, the database. So this innovation now helps us see not only where companies are already acknowledging these issues as material, but the quality of disclosure and, in a sense, unpriced risk, where the quality is very poor. So in order to advance the field of financial reporting and disclosure, we need more people willing to cultivate their beginners' minds. We need securities lawyers, accountants, finance professionals, and sustainability experts who are willing to not be experts. We need them to be willing to learn from each other. And that is where Cindy comes in. Soon after I started SASB, Cindy was one of the few experts who were willing to be open-minded to our very existence. For every beginner's mind, there's someone that will listen, ask more questions, offer encouragement, and point out the minefields. And that is what Cindy has done for us. She's a great leader at the forefront of where the profession is going. Fortunately, cultivating a beginner's mind is not difficult. There are opportunities all around us. Start by reading something challenging from another field that's not your own, by an expert that you've heard about. Since starting SASB, I've had the pleasure of reading Seligman and Langevort more recently on securities regulation, the FASB's conceptual framework, Justice Brandeis on transparency and the right to privacy, Bar Rosenberg's PhD dissertation on factor analysis from 1973, UC Berkeley, and the Brundtland Commission report, where the original definition of sustainable development came from in 1987. These are all works of art that I actually have read on vacation. The point being, if you develop your capacity for awe and for learning from other disciplines, the connections will follow. More simply, you can just take a walk with your dog, or in my case, my daughter. She's my partner in appreciating all that is awesome in life, from the structural engineering of a dragonfly wing to the beauty of a special sunset. She reminds me every day, in the words of Tolkien, that all who wander are not lost. They're just thinking about the future of their profession. Exploring is the way our beginner's mind stays open to possibilities. When the CAQ turns 50, so will my daughter. She will be in her investing prime. She will be the reasonable investor that the SEC exists to protect. I hope she can type in a ticker and get sustainability fundamentals right alongside financial fundamentals and take it for granted and make an investment decision based on it. the way we now take financial data for granted. To get there, let us together apply a beginner's mind to our lives and to our work. Thank you.